Friends, let me start the problem section with November 2009 new syllabus question. November 2009 new syllabus question. See, I have got about 6-7 questions for you where I don't expect you to write the question or the answer. Because here more these questions, there is no competition, only your understanding as to whether it is includable or not. So in the November 2009 new syllabus question, Mrs. A furnishes the following particulars for the computation of her wealth tax liability for the assessment year 2012 and 13. A madam को क्या हुआ? First point, gift of jewelry and gold ornaments received from her mother on the occasion of her marriage aggregating to 5 lakhs. However, the said jewelry was forcibly taken away by her mother-in-law. Beautiful start. ये क्या है? For one lady, mother gives the jewelry at the time of marriage and that is being forcibly taken away by the mother-in-law. Now the question here is this jewelry is going to be included in the net wealth of this lady or that mother-in-law who has taken forcibly? See, ownership is not getting transferred from the daughter-in-law to the mother-in-law, right? So on that pretext, for our wealth tax, we are not bothered about their family problems. We are only concerned about who is the owner. Owner continues to be this lady only, in which case that is to be included in the net wealth of this particular lady SSE only, right? So what is most important for us? Ownership, right? Of course, these type of things I am not expecting you to write. Listen like a story. On the occasion of the marriage, if it is given, who is going to become the owner? There is no deemed ownership concept or it will not again go into the hands of the transferor. Try to understand. Don't get confused with the income tax provisions and bring it into the wealth tax. Even in the income tax also, what is the point, friends? If a gift is given on the occasion of the marriage, it is not a transfer, and here also in the hands of the recipient, it is not income from other sources. So as far as this wealth tax is concerned, once she gets a gift, a property is coming to her at the time of the marriage and all, she is the legal owner, and forcibly her mother-in-law taking it will not change her fate. That mother-in-law will die and this girl will get back the, what is it, the wealth. ऐसा सोच के दिमाग में रख लो कि ownership is not getting transferred, so this lady only should include the same at that value of 5 lakhs. Then she owns 2 residential house property, each valuing 10 lakhs. 2 residential properties, each valuing 10 lakhs. Friends, try to understand. The continuation of this question says, she is one of the partners in the business with her husband. The value of her interest in the assets of the firm as at 31st March 2012 is 12,75,500. The said business is conducted in one house properties owned by Mrs. A. Just now you wrote a point. If the house property is used for the business of the SSE, either alone or along with others in the partnership firm, that house gets exempted. Another point is what? The second house, since she is using for, that is at least one house exemption is there under section 5. So for two reasons both the houses are getting exempted. One house is getting exempted because one house every SSC will get exemption, or plot of land below 500 or 500 below 500. So on that pretext these two residential houses will get exempted, one on the reason of business being carried out, another that is one house being straight away exempted by 5, section 5. All these things you should get the ideas in the exam. She has two motor cars of 12,50,000. One is imported and the value of it is 7,50,000. Whether it is imported or domestic, motor cars are to be included. Total 12,50,000 will be included in the net wealth. Then she has invested 10 lakhs in the bank deposits. Bank deposits are not to be treated as assets for the purpose of the wealth tax. I am not making it right because all these points you have already written. Then Mrs. A has signed an agreement to sell for purchase of new residential house property of 20 lakhs and has made an advance payment of 5 lakhs on 1st March 2012 and has taken the possession. However, the sale deed has not been executed till 31st March 2012. She has taken a loan of 15 lakhs from the bank to purchase the said property. What is the point? In respect to the transactions referred under section 53 of Transfer of Property Act, although registration has not happened, since the deed is entered and money is given and possession is handed over, the mere fact that it is not being registered is not going to change the fate. This SSC only will become the deemed owner, and whatever the loan that she has taken to purchase that particular property will be allowed to be deducted is a point. Then friends, she has a cash balance of 75,000. She is an individual. Up to 50,000 no problem, over and above 50,000 the 25,000 is to be included in her net wealth. Then after reducing the debt you get the net wealth. In that net wealth up to 30 lakhs no tax, over and above 30 lakhs at the rate of 1%. No surcharge and educational cess under the wealth tax, no need to pay any advance tax, no 234B and C. Now having completed that particular problem, now I move to the next question, that is this is November 2008 new syllabus. See, sometimes we may be fortunate like this. That is no computation, only knowing includable or not includable. That's it. Since all those points which we discussed earlier are all being given as gist points to you right at the beginning, any new point that comes you can write. In this particular problem, एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट साहब है, वो कौन? मिस्टर दुग्गल. A chartered accountant and a citizen of India, after serving for 16 years in UK, returned back on 12/4/2011. What is the date of return? 12/4/2011. वो दिमाग में रख लो. For permanent settlement in Delhi and started professional practice. Furnishes the value of his all the assets and liabilities as on 31/3/2012 and request you to compute the net wealth. राइट? वैसा नहीं देखना, उन्होंने खुद ही कर सकते वैसा बोल के कृष्णा रेड्डी मेरे को देख रहे हैं, ये क्या चीज है साहब, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट साहब अपने आप नहीं कर सकते। नहीं, तुम्हारा नॉलेज टेस्ट करने के लिए उन्होंने सीए फाइनल आर्टिकल स्टूडेंट को दे रहे हैं, अरे मेरा जो एसेट्स ऐसा है आप कैलकुलेट कर लो बोल के। चलो वो साहब का क्या क्या एसेट्स है देख लो यहां पे। कार यूज्ड फॉर द प्रोफेशनल वर्क, सी इट इज एन एसेट, क्योंकि मोटर कार के ऊपर क्या क्लैरिटी होना तुम्हारा माइंड में। मोटर कार व्हेन हेल्ड फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ डूइंग द बिजनेस ऑफ hiring motor cars or motor cars held as a stock in trade only will be not treated as assets. All other motor cars are going to be included. This clarity student should have when he is preparing for the exam. If this point is not there in your list of gist points, write down. Motor car is exempted when it is held as a stock in trade, when it is held as a stock in trade, or SSC uses the same in the business of hiring vehicles. SC uses the same in the business of hiring the vehicles. Other than that, whether he is using that motor car for his professional work or personal work, it is not exempted. As it is, you have to take that 15 lakhs value. Similarly, there is a car which he is having, which he uses for personal purposes. दो कार है साहब को, एक बिजनेस के लिए यूज करते, एक प्राइवेट के लिए यूज करते, दोनों को भी इंक्लूड करना ही करना उसका वेल्थ में। बाद में दोस्तों उसको एक लैपटॉप है, लैपटॉप not an asset because we have got only 6 categories of assets. और उसका एक डेस्कटॉप है, स्कैनर है, प्रिंटर है, ये सब क्या है, नॉट टू बी इंक्लूडेड इन द एसेट्स वेल्थ। उसका बैंक में टर्म डिपॉजिट्स, नॉट एन एसेट। ही हैज गॉट शेयर्स, नॉट एन एसेट। He has taken loan against car used for professional work. Since car is included in the net wealth, debt incurred to acquire that particular asset is allowed to be deducted, is what many number of times we have studied. Then urban land he purchased in the name of handicapped son, ATU. So no clubbing. Minor son के लिए, हैंडीकैप्ड माइनर सन के लिए एक लैंड खरीद लिए तो ये डीमिंग प्रोविजन, क्लबिंग प्रोविजन विल नॉट गेट अट्रैक्टेड देयर. ऑलरेडी यू रोट दैट पॉइंट. ज्वेलरी वैल्यूइंग 5 lakhs purchased out of the money from NRE account on 1/12/2010. When he came here 12/4/2011, 12/4/2011 से पीछे जाके देख लो, 1/12/2010 and 12/4/2011, the time gap is less than 6 months. सुन लो, 1/12/2010, last month of the 2010 he purchased. When he came to India, 12/4/2011. That means 12th month, first month, second month, third month, fourth month, only 4-5 months. Just before 1 year before his arrival, if he purchases any assets, those assets gets exempted in case of a person who permanently resides outside India comes back to India for permanent settlement in India, is what you have studied. Already written also. Then friends, house property valuing 40 lakhs was purchased by him on 11/3/2008 from the funds of NRE account. Friends, if he is purchasing an asset out of the NRE funds, not within 12 months before his arrival, much more earlier, then for that exemption is not there, but for one house there is an exemption. On that pretext we say nil. Then friends, amount of 2 lakhs was withdrawn from the bank for a deal of house which could not be materialized, and therefore cash was deposited back to the bank on 2/4/2012. For what purpose you have withdrawn, we are not bothered. You are holding the cash as on the valuation date, and you are an individual up to 50,000, not over and above 50,000, 1,50,000, you have to include it, is a point to be well remembered. Then friends, jewelry worth of 2 lakhs was gifted on 22/3/2012 to the wife on the occasion of 25th marriage anniversary. Which anniversary we are not bothered. It is for inadequate consideration. साहब तो उसका रिटर्न पे दिखाना ही पड़ता उसको एसेट मान के, क्योंकि सेक्शन 4 is applicable. This is what you have in this particular problem of November 2008. Since all these points are the one which you have already written, I am not bothering you. Now I move to the next question, doston. We discuss the question which is given in the November 2008. When I am saying the question number, I expect the question year, I expect the students to make a note of that question number. Of course, for the e-video students this is not a problem, because they can rewind and can make note of those questions. Why I am asking you to make note of the question? For sir it is getting completed. Happy well, खुशी से उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं, मगर आप तो लिखे सो तो ही आपका दिमाग में रखता हो, प्रैक्टिस कर दो. Otherwise it is like what? Otherwise it is like, I know the car driving, Krishna Reddy don't know the car driving. He says, I want to learn the driving from you, sir. Then I said, what is the big deal, Mr. Krishna Reddy? Sit by my side. We will travel for the next 3 months to carry out audit in the beautiful jungle of Adilabad. And all the 3 months he is sitting by my side and going on looking at how I am driving. Do you expect Mr. Krishna Reddy is going to become a good driver on the 4th month, first day? No, because never I allowed him to drive my car. So it is also like that only. So you, after this particular session, if time permits, kindly practice the problems. Now, because when solution is before us, उसके ऊपर भाषण करना उतना डिफिकल्ट टास्क नहीं है. चलो दोस्तों सुन लो. पहले ये प्रॉब्लम किस साल का है? नवंबर 2008 का. इसमें क्या तमाशा है? मतीशा कंस्ट्रक्शन लिमिटेड, ये क्या है? पहले कंपनी है, और ये कंपनी भी नाम से कैसा दिख रहे हैं आपको? involved in the real estate. Why your brain should act so fastly like this? Because if it is held as a stock in trade, the properties are not to be included in the net wealth. Immediately, by reading the problem itself, 50% of the solution should be before you. ऐसा हो रहा बोले तो पास हो रहा, ऐसा नहीं मैं सोच के लिखते बोले तो नहीं होता. हमारा सीए एग्जाम कैसे एग्जाम है दोस्तों? There is no time to think and write. Time of 3 hours is only given to write. If you say, I am going to think like Shakespeare and I am going to give a beautiful direct texts answer booklet, you have to write only this paper for 10 years. Think and write is not the point. Go on writing only. For that, how much of the practice is required, just think of. Chalo dosto. Land in urban area held as a stock in trade since 1998. अब क्या साल चल रहा? 2011 and 12. कब उन्होंने अर्बन लैंड खरीद लिए? 1998. 1998 से वो यही बात बता रहे, उसको स्टॉक इन ट्रेड मान रहे. मगर हमारा वेल्थ टैक्स एक्ट क्या बताते दोस्तों? फॉर 10 years we allow your drama of saying it as a stock in trade. Beyond 10 years, no. You have to include the same in your net wealth with 81 lakhs. Motor cars, including imported car of 18 lakhs, total value is 38 lakhs. Imported नहीं तो domestic पूरा include करना ही करना पड़ता. Because it is not held as stock in trade, it is not used for in the business of hiring. बाद में 250 acres of agricultural land he acquired at Greater Noida on 27/8/2011 for construction of residential flats and also a commercial complex. Her Greater Noida authority has reserved 25 acres of the land as a green belt. That means it has not permitted construction. Moreover, on that no construction took place. It is only a land, urban land held as a stock in trade. Exempted, completely exempted. Then residential flats of 1500 square feet, each provided to 3 employees. The value is 36 lakhs. Salary of the one of the employees exceeding 5 lakhs. तब क्या करना पड़ता? 36 lakhs into 1/3. 12 lakhs you have to include in his net wealth. Remaining thing, what is it? If the residential house is given by a company to its employees whose salary is less than 5 lakhs, it gets exempted. Already point you have written. Farmhouse of 5 acres at a remote village. Farmhouse beyond 25 kilometers from the local municipal limits is not an asset. Then cash in hand as per the cash book is 3 lakhs. For company SSEs, if it is recorded, it's not an asset. Unrecorded, it becomes an asset. There is no minimum limit up to which it is not to be included. That minimum limit of 50,000 is for whom? For the individuals and the HUFs. Then friends, his liabilities are loan for purchase of the land at urban area. Land in the urban area, once it gets exempted, then it is not to be deducted, but once it is not exempted, it is to be deducted. Because the principle is what? In respect to the assets which are included in the net wealth, if any debts are there, they are to be reduced. Loan for purchase of the land at Greater Noida, since that asset is exempted, this loan is not allowed to be deducted. Wealth tax liability, it is not a debt. Loan for construction of the residential flats, since that is not yet commenced. Loans for construction of the residential flats. Already in the residential flats, one flat is included there in the net wealth. So out of this loan of 9 lakhs, 1 by 3 is equal to 3 lakhs of the debt is allowed to be reduced, is a point. Commercial complex, yes, but not yet started. Just the problem says he purchased the land to construct a commercial complex as well as a residential complex. मगर कंस्ट्रक्शन तो शुरुआत भी नहीं हुआ, तो उसके लिए हमको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. वो अर्बन लैंड हेल्ड एज ए स्टॉक इन ट्रेड, नॉट treated as an asset. Like this we have done with the November 2008 question. Now I move to the next question, that is, I have got a question which deals more with business assets and rule 14. उसके ऊपर एक प्रॉब्लम है. सुन लो दोस्तों, what is the important point that should come to your mind? The point that should come to your mind is, in case of the business assets, if schedule 3 value is 20% more than the book value, then schedule 3 value you have to adopt, right? So here compute the net wealth of UMV Limited carrying on the business of running cars on hire and also dealing with jewelry. उसको दो बिजनेस हैं, एक ज्वेलरी बिजनेस है और दूसरा क्या है, उसका कार हायर के ऊपर है. तो ज्वेलरी विल बी हिज स्टॉक इन ट्रेड, कार्स विल बी also not be included. This point should come to your mind before you go through the problem. They have given a particulars. Fixed assets are there, investments are there, current assets are there, liabilities are there. उसमें क्या क्या लेना क्या नहीं लेना, वही प्रॉब्लम. तो सुन लो, प्लांट एंड मशीनरी. प्लांट एंड मशीनरी दोस्तों, इज इट एन एसेट? In that 6 category assets, it is not there. Be happy. Factory building. Factory building, since it is used for the business, any building which is used for the purpose of the SC's business, either alone or along with others, is not to be treated as an asset. Urban land, 450 square meters, its book value is 40 lakhs. Value as per schedule 3 is 100 lakhs. 450 क्या है? इंडिविजुअल और HUF को वो एग्जाम्पशन है, मगर यहां एसएससी कौन है? कंपनी है. यही चीज होता वहां पे. हम लिख के हैप्पीली कम आउट एंड से पेपर इज इजी. वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग 60, वी आर गेटिंग 40. If it is 40, okay sir. If it is 39 only, the problem is. That is where your caution, care, observation matters. तो here क्या है? Urban land is an asset and this fellow is not into real estate business for us to say that it is a stock in trade. So here book value is 40 lakhs, our schedule 3 value is 100 lakhs, and your schedule 3 value is more than 20% excess over the book value, so you have to take only the schedule 3 value. What is schedule 3 value? 100 lakhs. Already this point I have made you to write. That's where I made a good preparation, Krishna Reddy, before I start delivering the lecture. You can see whether the teacher is well prepared or not. Why? Because the day when Chakravarti comes prepared to the class, उसका माउथ से हिंदी भी आ जाता. When I am very happy, I love to spend some time with Hindi. चलो दोस्तों, now because all this what I am saying is, please remember, even your e-teacher is also a human being. It's not the machine. Human being बोले तो क्या है? Some student was saying, sir, in some videos you appear very young. In some videos, on the day when you are delivering the lecture, it appears that you are not well in mood and in the class. I am able to notice. Good. This much of the observation you also keep on the subject which I am teaching. Okay. I love my students wherever they are. Because of you only I am a teacher. Now, motor cars. Motor cars क्या है? Since he is into the business of motor cars, if such a motor car is used for running it on hire, then it is not to be treated as an asset. But here, even if he don't say that running on hire, but in the initial paragraph itself, they have stated that the SSE is engaged in running the vehicles on hire. On that pretext, it is not an asset. Investments है उसका. Jewelry. See, jewelry is not shown under the current assets. Jewelry shown in the current assets है तो उसको स्टॉक एंड ट्रेड मानना पड़ता. उसको इन्वेस्टमेंट में दिखा दिए तो उसको एसेट मानना. और उसका वैल्यू क्या है दोस्तों? 15 lakhs is the book value, 30 lakhs is the schedule 3 value. Since schedule 3 value is more than 20% of the book value, I have to put 30 lakhs of schedule 3 value. Plot of land in Mumbai, 480 square meters. This is a company SSE. This is a company SSE. And is he in the business of real estate? No. So this is a plot of land. 10 lakhs is a book value, 50 lakhs is a schedule 3 value. Since schedule 3 value is more than 20%, you have to include the same at the schedule 3 value only. Then equity shares. Investment in equity shares is not an asset because the asset definition does not include investment in shares. Then current assets, inventory, it will not be included. Sundry debtors, it will not be included because it's not an asset. Cash and bank balance, as far as company SCs are concerned, it will not be treated as an asset because what is recorded in the books will not be treated as an asset. दोस्तों उसका liabilities है, current liabilities, उसको भी हम नहीं डिडक्ट करते. Loan secured on fixed assets, loan secured to acquire the fixed assets will be allowed as a deduction. And in case if it is stated that loan secured on fixed assets, we are not supposed to, but if you go through the problem, in case if it is stated that what is it, this loan is taken specifically to acquire a particular asset, then it is to be deducted because the principle I am discussing, not the solution. Principle is what? If asset for which you have borrowed the money is being included in your net wealth, then that corresponding loan amount is to be deducted, otherwise not. So like that we have done one problem on business balance sheet being taken and how to do with the computation of the net wealth. A similar problem, we have a similar problem that is given in which year? November 2005. Quickly I will do with that problem also. All these points since you have written, you just see. Since already you have written all the points, very less points. Now if the list gets enlarged, squarely I should be blamed. for not adequately giving you the list before I start the discussion. If the number gets increased, I am more depressed. But still we love to search and try to take all the points so that your preparation becomes a foolproof. Okay, Krishna Reddy, not foolproof, foolproof preparation. Dekh lo. X Limited is a company carrying on the business in construction and sale of residential properties, flats. So it's a real estate company. It furnishes the following data and requests you to compile the wealth tax return and determine the tax payable on the assessments. Land in rural area, it is within 5 kilometers. Already students were saying, no, it is not. This is how you will jump in the exam also. You have to read what is given in the brackets. वो brackets में क्या दिए दोस्तों? It is within 5 kilometers from Ajmer. Construction is permissible. Land was purchased in 1991. तो देखो कितना पॉइंट्स आपका दिमाग में आना. एक चीज है वो म्युनिसिपल लिमिट्स के अंदर ही है. वो म्युनिसिपल लिमिट्स के अंदर है तो उसको अर्बन लैंड मानते, उसको उन्हों क्या नेम देते उसका मतलब नहीं. दूसरा चीज क्या है, उसके ऊपर कंस्ट्रक्शन परमिटेड है. तीसरा चीज क्या है, वो कब से उन्होंने स्टॉक इन ट्रेड बता रहे हैं, 1991 से बता रहे हैं. 1991 से अब तक कितने साल हो गए दोस्तों? मोर देन 10 years. तो उसको एसेट मानना ही मानना पड़ता. और उसका वैल्यू क्या है? 92,78,600. Thanks, they have not given any schedule 3 value like that. When it is not given, problem does not provide that. Don't exhibit too much of the knowledge. Only put the book value here. Okay. Some students unnecessarily write, problem is not providing schedule 3 values. Had it given the schedule 3 value, I would have checked more than 20% of the book value. Schedule 3 value है तो वो मैं डाल सकते. ऐसा कब लिखते दोस्त? जब तुम attempt लिखे तो. That's what I am saying. Before you make a PhD in direct taxes, pass the CA final at the earliest. Otherwise, we, while valuing the paper C, students write, this problem is having these defects. What we are asking? You to tell the defects in the problem or write the solution. That fellow, before starting the solution itself, this problem should not have been constructed like this. This suffers from this particular limitations. उनका उतना knowledge है, right? But in our solution paper उतना knowledge नहीं है, तो इसीलिए marks नहीं डाल रहे हैं हम. तो दोस्तों, land in urban area, construction not permitted as per the municipal laws. If construction is not permitted on that urban land, it is not an asset. Then land in urban area held as a stock in trade since 2002. Since 2002 बोले तो 2012 तक 10 साल नहीं हो रहा. तो 10 साल नहीं हुए तो उसको, in case if they are holding it as a stock in trade, it is not to be treated as an asset. Then friends, motor cars, one of them is imported. ये क्या चीज है? हर एक प्रॉब्लम में imported बताते. अच्छा, हम पढ़ के आए इसीलिए हमको कुछ डाउट नहीं आ रहा. यदि आप नहीं पढ़ के गए तो वहां बैठने के बाद क्या सोचते आप? अरे उन्होंने कुछ है बोल के ही दिए ना, हम कुछ करना ही करना बोल के उसको लेके कुछ करते, बस हमको मालूम पड़ जाता तुम प्रिपेयर नहीं होके आए बोल के. Where your valuer gets irritated, friends? when this particular aspect is given in the past 10 exams, still if the student make a mistake with such points, we definitely gets irritated. See, if it is a new point, nobody could attempt, my dear student also is not able to attempt, excused. Because we expect minimum but study material and suggested answers to be studied and come to the exam. Next friends. So motor cars, as it is imported and domestic कुल मिला के net wealth में you have to include it. Jewelry not being held as a stock in trade. If it is held as an investment, it is to be included. Aircraft for the use of the directors and auditors. It is also an asset. Unless you use the aircraft for hiring or that held as a stock in trade, वो चीज यहाँ नहीं है. Simply for the business use, that what is it, your aircraft is to be included. In case if you get some doubt, please make note. Even though I accept that I have not picked up this particular point. Aircraft for the use of directors and auditors. Aircraft for the use of directors and auditors is an asset. Is an asset. Bank balance दोस्तों, it's not an asset. Cash in hand as per the cash book, since it is a company, recorded cash is not an asset. Guest house and land appurtenant thereto situated in rural area. Guest house कहीं भी हो, उसको asset नहीं मानते हम. No, we will treat it as an asset. Farmhouse, if it is located beyond 25 kilometers, it is not an asset. Sometimes knowing well students make a mistake, right? That they come out and say, I have done all simple silly mistakes. I have seen in Hyderabad, at least this culture is there in the Hyderabad. When I ask some students after they come from the direct tax paper, they say, sir, paper is very easy, but I did all silly mistakes. Right? Don't do like that. Be careful. Then friends, residential flats of identical size provided to 6 employees for their use near the factory which is situated in rural area. Salary of the 2 of them exceeds 5 lakhs. तो उसका मतलब क्या है? Out of the 6, 2 are to be treated as assets, remaining 4 are not to be treated as assets. And 15 lakhs है उसका, तो 15 lakhs, what is it? Into 1/6. Each is how much? 15 lakhs divided by 6. Each is how much? 2,50,000. तो 2 बोले तो कितना? 5 lakhs. 2 means 5 lakhs. Got the point? Then already my student is saying, it is in rural area, will it make any difference? Rural नहीं तो urban. उसको हम, we are not going to make the distinction. Then at least one house, sir, exemption is there stated, na? Stated, but much bigger house is there as we read down the problem. Okay. Then residence provided to the managing director salary exceeding 5 lakhs is 10 lakhs. Salary exceeds 5 lakhs means it is to be included in the assets. Flats constructed and remained unsold, not being held as a stock in trade, kept vacant, still it is to be treated as an asset. How much it is? 30 lakhs. Then residence provided to whole-time director whose salary is 4,20,000 and a director is owns 25% of the equity shares. if he is a whole-time director and an employee director, then if his salary is less than 4,20,000, that house becomes exempted is a point. 3 let out residential houses given on rent, value of each being 50 lakhs. One of them is let out for only 50 days. See, 3 house residences properties he has got, 3 he has let out. For 2 completely throughout the year they are let out. So what we studied, residential accommodation let out for minimum 300 days gets exempted. Below 300 days, 50 days, उसको क्या मानना हम? Asset मानना. मगर one house को we give the exemption. Since this house is 50 lakhs and all, earlier we have not used this benefit. Like that you have to see the total problem and then should think which house you want to give the benefit. Solution when is before us, it is easy. That's where you have to practice the problems. The company has taken a loan of 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 50,000 and 90,000 for acquiring the properties in 5, 6, 12, 13 respectively here. Of course, principle is simple. Debts incurred in respect of the assets included in the wealth are to be deducted. The one which is not related to the asset which is there in the net wealth is not to be deducted. It's a point. Now friends, that is the end of that particular problem. We are not doing with, what is it, numericals. We are only dealing with the concepts. This is a USP of our e-video. USP means unique selling proposition. Okay. This is our USP, unique to ourselves. To say that, they will say use the word USP. What is your USP? Okay. Now, because when we started this exercise of e-video classes without chalk and talk, some students were apprehensive about, are you really going to impart the requisite knowledge for our preparation? Hopefully by this time probably you are all enjoying with this kind of the teaching, because even if I deliver the lecture in the institute amidst of some 150 students, some of the students will not be even having the visibility to the board. Still, are they not attending the classes? At least you don't have the problem like that. You are looking at expressions of the teacher. Board is not visible, but we will try to compensate with the, what is it, PowerPoint. But as we go to the final coaching, normally we expect you to come to the coaching only for conceptual clarity, not for the arithmetical things. Because if I start writing on the board, this module of direct taxes will go to 300 hours. For 125 hours only, our Krishna Reddy now and then is very unpleasant. Okay, back to the point. Now I move to the question given in November 2006. ये भी क्या चीज है दोस्तों, डिस्कशन की लिए करते हम. D is an individual. SSC कौन है, वो अंडरलाइन होना ही होना, इंडिविजुअल है. तो उसका क्या क्या एसेट्स है, उसके बारे में आपका राय क्या है, यदि वो इंक्लूड होता नहीं होता. देख लो, प्लॉट ऑफ लैंड एट भोपाल comprising an area of 1200 square meters on which building has been constructed without the approval of the appropriate authority. In case on a land on which permission is not there, you constructed a house, yes, it is an asset. But the next point says, building constructed on the land at Bhopal without the approval of the appropriate authority is used for his business purpose. That is the reason why it is not to be included in the assets. Because that land is not a vacant land. On that construction completed, now the asset becomes a building and land appurtenant thereto. So once that building is used for the purpose of the business, then such a building and land appurtenant thereto is not an asset. This beautiful idea should come in the exam hall. Okay, because these two different values are given. Land को एक value दिए और building को एक value दिए, and ये दोनों को you have to read the both, right? These type of things are difficult to get in the exam. But once you see this and again the same question comes also, if you don't write, then as a valuer I am getting irritated. I think all of you remember this particular point. Motor cars held as a stock in trade. Already you know, motor cars held as a stock in trade is not an asset. Gold jewelry brought into India from Singapore, where he was residing on his return to India on 1/11/2006 for permanently residing in India. 2006 से 2012 तक देख लो, 7 साल गुजर गए नहीं, below what is it, 7 years. Up to 7 years, assets which are brought while that individual is returning to India on a permanent basis is not to be treated as an asset. Then friends, jewelry made of platinum. Jewelry is an asset, so it is to be included. Interest in the coparcenary property, HUF property में interest है तो HUF is a taxable entity, so individual members interest in the HUF is not an asset. Whereas this is not the case with partnership firm. In case of a partnership firm क्या होता दोस्तों? Partnership firm is not a taxable entity, so interest of the individual partner in the assets of the partnership firm will be treated as an assets. But this is not the situation. Then cash in hand recorded in the books of accounts 5 lakhs. Individual है तो 50,000 तक ही exemption रहता, remaining 4,50,000 it is to be included there. He has got fixed deposits in the cooperative banks. Bank deposits are not to be treated as assets. And then loan borrowed for the marriage of daughter, not allowed to be deducted. Loan borrowed for construction of the building at Bhopal, that building itself is not included in the assets, so this debt is not allowed to be reduced. The minor married daughter of D holds a land in Indore whose value is 20 lakhs. Minor married daughter तो हम clubbing नहीं करते, क्योंकि son-in-law will not accept, so also wealth tax also don't accept for such clubbing. Then amounts stated against the assets except for the cash in hand are the values determined as per section 7 of the Wealth Tax Act, read with schedule 3 thereto. Thanks. In this problem he said, other way around, is these things are book values or is these things are schedule 3 values. Many times the problems in CA final don't expect you to do the valuations. Problems are more and more number of times tested on students' knowledge as to whether it is an asset or not, includable or not includable. That is a point. Now friends, having completed your what is it, November 2006 problem,